Hello tubes, it's Gav. Welcome to another one of my videos. This is a video I'm doing for Peter, one of my subscribers. I'd mentioned in the last video with the Landsknechts if anybody needed an idea on the colours I use for the faces, and he said yes please. So for Peter and anybody else that is interested, it's a really, I think, a really straightforward, easy combination. So I use 2 times beige red, and that's the AK. If you can see the code there. But any time, I always say, please don't just think that you have to go out. Oops, sorry. That if you've got, Gav says this bottle of paint or that, just use a colour that's and a company that is roughly the same if you want to follow this recipe. Don't feel like you have to use the particular companies and the exact colour that I'm putting down. But that's beige red, and I usually put two layers of that on. Then I'm working with a wet palette, so I've still got some of that beige red on it, and I'll put 50% of a basic skin tone in. And this is Vallejo. I've had this years, and that's how I use it. But it's come up trumps with that one. So basic skin tone from Vallejo, put 50% of that in. And again, you're putting that nearly over every part of the face. So, oh, I can't actually show you a thing with. I'm hanged. Sorry, this tripod, this mini tripod, so bad it keeps falling over. Yeah, 50%. So 50% of these two. Then I put another bit of in to make it about 60-70%. But with these Landsknecht faces in particular, they've got beards and things like that, so you don't have to do that if you don't want to. But I'd put a bit more in, and then finally I would just use this on your own on the high points of the face, you know, the usual what I call the T-piece. So dot on the end of the nose. Obviously you don't try and put eyebrows on these scalar figures because they'll just look ridiculous. But on where the brows would be, on the high points of the cheeks, you put that on. So after that, we're going to just put some colours on. You can use, I'm showing you 4 reds here, Count Gav. These 4 reds. Now wine red is an extremely strong colour, but it is very nice to put in the deepest recesses. And I'll do that around the hairline, on the cheeks, under the cheeks I should say, anywhere where there's a recess, inside the ears, around the back of the ears, under the chin. But please thin this out so it's very weak. Don't put it on as just even with a bit of water in, because it'll be way too strong. But there's nothing that I've said here, when you put these colours on, there's nothing that you can't paint back over again. So don't have a fit if like this is too dark. But you want to really water this down, not as much so it's like a glaze of they have to say tinted water. That's gone too far for this scalar figure. Again, it's just something you're going to have to try yourself. I could show you the wet palette, but it's pretty meaningless, to be honest with you. It's something I can give you the colours, but how you apply them is just a bit of practice of yourself, seeing what works for you. So if you want to go for a really dark colour in the recesses, try this wine red. I use that a lot for that type of thing. For lighter colours, if you don't want to go that light, I believe I didn't use much wine red on any of these Landsknechts. I think I actually use this carmine red, and again putting it in the same places, under the hollows of the cheeks, in the ears, around the border areas, demarcation of like hairlines and things like that. You can put that in. Also the hands, I put those in between the fingers, where the wrist disappears into the cuff, underneath the hand. It's all a bit arty to a degree. I mean, I'm looking at my old withered hands under here, and they wouldn't be showing up that much. But again, it's a 28mm figure. So you could use carmine red, or this is obviously a brighter colour, but you can use this, what they call blood red. Or if you want to go into a warmer colour, you could use scarlet. Now I would prefer to use scarlet if I'm working on a warmer skin tone where I've done it what I call nice and shiny with oranges in there. I do prefer these type of colours because they are just that slightly colder on colour temperatures, if that makes sense. If you can see here, you can see the brightness. That's a better colour to use in my opinion. And just keep watering it down, applying it on one of your figures. If it's too much, obviously let it dry out. Either use a hairdryer to make things go quicker, or just let it dry out naturally, blow on it, whatever, and then just use your base paints again to go back at what, as in your mix of beige and basic skin. Go back over the area. If you think your paint's too watery, obviously add a bit more of the carmine to your paint and obviously thicken it up, or go the other way, put more water in. It really is, that's the bit I can't really do for you, if that makes sense. You've got to just work that yourself. Now that's our different types of reds I use on a figure, but I also use magenta. Now this particular one from Vallejo is a very strong colour, and it really does need watering down, like the wine red. If you put this on where you think, oh, that's, you know, that will just stain nicely, you'll get more than a stain. And believe me, because I do it quite often. So yeah, again, it's just a case of, you know, blowing your cheeks out and and repainting a particular area, and then going again, watering it down. So please water that down if you're going to use it. I put this a lot on around the nose area, and again, just on like the working up from the high onto the high cheek areas. On the hands again, on the backs of the hands, again, just adds a different tone. Now by that time you should have a figure that is you're thinking, whoa, I had a nice I had a nice skin tone here, and I followed Gav and I've put all this stuff on, and he now looks more like red and magenta. Well, then you go back over first of all with that the mix. That, you know, you say 70% mix of basic into the red, beige red, and you put that in back on the highest cheek areas, all the highest points you want to lose some of that coloration that you've just put on, and keeping it in the recesses. And then your very last application is the basic skin tone again on like the tip of the nose, where the knuckles are. If you think on your own hand, just put your dots on top of the knuckles. I'll quite often, on all the knuckles, I'll put a little dot on. Again, you're looking at 28mm figures. I didn't think as far as actually get a painted example, unfortunately. I did this off the cuff. So yeah, that's the colours I use. You can get by with mixing those 2 times base, 50% into that, add a bit more into your liking. We'll say, you know, well, no, just put a bit more into till you've got a colour that you're happy with. Then add that by itself. This might look a bit stark, but then you add your carmine red again as a glaze, as watered down, and then you add your magenta in. Again, not mixed, just as again as you could call a stain if that's what you want colouring, you know, a glaze. But we start talking all arty then, and it loses people sometimes. So yeah, just, you know, you're just putting that bit in just to add that bit of coloration, make the face look a bit, you know, a bit colder, show a bit of different definition, because they are lovely faces on those figures. And then, as I say, just one last time, go back. Well, once all that's done, add your mix of this again, these two, just in places where you think your red and your magenta is showing up that bit too much, which is what you want, is a lighter colour obviously on those cheeks, on the end, on the side of the nose where it flares out, on the tip of the nose, that type of thing. And then finally hit it again with a basic showing up on the knuckles, I also try and do, if they're in view, I'll use something like silver grey or some very off-white to just do a dot for the nails. So a thumbnail, you know, if he's holding something that's can be seen. So yeah, that's the colours I use. Hope that's helps, Peter. Probably not, but that's what I do. So I hope that's help. Thanks a lot, guys. As I say, it was just it was easier to explain it than it was to actually you know, just put it down in a comment. So look after yourselves, and we'll catch each other soon on another video.